management. It is an entrepreneur. It is not an academician. It is a business analyst. If that business venture, if that product, that launch, that innovation gives you more than the cost of debt, company will become another Google. The company will become another Indian example. Name it, Grasim. If that venture fails, then that company will become another Orke Industries. I'm not sure if you remember the name also. This was another famous company which started with Reliance. But today nobody knows about it because it's dead and gone. Friends, we'll come back and finish by saying that let's apply this principle again of risk versus return to this learning. And then I take your questions. This principle, risk versus return. Let's apply it now. A banker who gives a loan, is playing the low risk, low return game. A banker who is giving a loan is playing the low risk, low return game. That is it. That's what he's playing. Low risk, low return game. So what is that low risk, low return game that he is playing? He says, you give me my 11%. If you earn more than that, you keep it. I don't want very high returns. My 11% is fixed. Give me my 11%. Low risk. Why low risk? That is low return. 11% is low return comparatively to an equity. Why low risk? If you are not able to pay my EMI, if you are not able to pay my money back, I will come and seize the asset. Because whenever a banker gives a loan, invariably that loan is secured. Here is the example. What is a security? That security means if tomorrow you don't pay the loan or an installment of the loan, banker will recover. How will he recover his money? By selling off that asset. What are the jargons here in secure? The jargons for secured is, right? What is a security? Security is the banker saying low risk. अगर आप मेरे को नहीं देंगे मेरा पैसा मैं उठा लूँगा. Please understand that jargon for security is, you may have these terms, Mr. Kapil, dear friend, security, hypothecation, Akhil bete, hypothecation, a small revision for you, mortgage, pledge, all jargons, collateral. Last jargon, you can keep adding to it, charge. All jargons. So what it essentially means is that if you cannot repay my money back, simple, that's it. I will seize the asset and sell it. Low risk. You see, I have given you 5 crores. My 5 crores is secure. Excuse me? When the banker gives you 5 crores, first thing is, okay, let's put it the other way around. You are buying something worth 5 crores. Let's put the other way around, an easier way of doing it. Sunil sir has been very prompt. Sanjay Shinde sir. You are buying something worth 5 crores. Will the banker give you 5 crores straight away, sir? What does it? That's it. Again, very, very fast. So what does he say? At least I will get 4 crores when I sell it. Though it is worth 5 crores, brilliant, Mr. Mani. Thank you, sir, for bringing it up. Why does the banker keep saying you bring 20%? We use this jargon. The jargon is margin. 20% margin, 10% margin. Why? Because he is using as a function of solvency. If tomorrow this company defaults, at least I should get my money back. Excuse me, sir, simple logic. If the bank is giving you a loan against some product which can get obsolete very fast, Thank you for nodding, Mr. Kapil. Akhil, I need your support. A banker is giving money towards any product which gets obsolete very fast. Will he take lower margin or higher margin? One last jargon. Thank you very much. All this paper, agreement, everything, looking at security, margin, it is known as, please remember this jargon, always, it's used frequently by finance colleagues. Due diligence. Banker carries out due diligence. Due diligence means what, sir? Due diligence means verification. Due diligence means verification. So now, before we break for tea, one last line. Debt is about low risk, low return. Equity, on the other hand, if you are investing in equity of any company, maybe Reliance, maybe Grasim, maybe ACC, maybe SBI, if you have picked up a share of that company, and equity basically means owner, equity basically means owners. What happens in this case is high risk, high return. High risk, high return. You, Sanjay sir, you select the right company for investment. Supernormal returns. It is legendary stuff in India that people have got their daughters married off because he invested in Reliance shares. It's legendary stuff. People who would have invested in Wipro shares when Mr. Premji joined the company, right, today would have had a second income as retirement income. The people who would have picked up the Birla Group company when Mr. Kumar and the restructuring took place would have laughed their ways to the bank. People who would have invested in State Bank of India with this bull run of 20,000 would have been very, very good. But please note, it is high risk. If you happen to select the wrong company, you lose your entire capital. That matrix there, you have one guy who is low risk, low return. You have another guy who is high risk, high return. Why is it high risk? Whenever the company is liquidated, the owners, the equity shareholders get nothing. First to get will be the lenders, secured lenders. Second to get will be unsecured lenders. If anything remains, nothing remains. Right? It goes straight to equity. Equity is high risk, high return. Friends, last thing before we take a break, liabilities and assets. Why is it? This is subject of finance, logical. Why balance? Balance means it has to be same because liability side should be equal to asset side. From wherever you have raised that money, post T we are going to look at how are you applying that money. Both have to be equal. Both have to be equal. Source has to be equal to application. It's as simple as that. Having said this, a small recap, and it will be a pleasure to take questions and then break. We looked at three statements: profit and loss statement, which is profitability; cash flow statement, which is liquidity; balance sheet, which is solvency. We started with balance sheet. We said balance sheet is a static statement. Balance sheet is as on a particular date. Balance sheet is a figure of liabilities and assets. Liabilities are sources of funds. We covered two sources of funds, equity and debt. There are two principles of finance, and I keep on harping on the first principle, risk versus return. Debt is low risk, low return. Debt is also known as leverage. Debt is also known as leverage because by applying a small force, you can lift a heavy load. Similarly, by having small units, you can borrow a lot more and you can do business worth much more than what you have. Debt, anybody who invests in debt is playing the low risk, low return game. Anybody who invests in equity is playing the high risk, high return game. Having said that, it is known as balance sheet because the sources should be equal to the application. Logic again. Assets. Akhil would know, I have already interacted with the young man. Except that I wanted him to get a flavor of second day, tomorrow. Please know, logic again. What will the company do with its money? That is so simple. It's just a tax. Company will buy land. Then what it will do? It will erect a building. Then what it will do? It will install plant and machinery. Then what it will do? It will have furniture and fixtures. Company would invest in land. I am repeatedly saying company. Thank you, Mr. Mani, for nodding and smiling. This is what keeps the trainer going, right? Thank you, Mr. Rajesh, for your kind words. Right? Please note, the entire logic is company is an artificial person. If the company gets some money, what does it do with it? It invests in land, it invests in building, it invests in plant and machinery, it invests in furniture and fixtures. This entire lot is known as fixed assets. Makes sense? Also, another jargon that is used for this is known as, CapEx. Another jargon that is used is CapEx. Sanjay sir, have you heard about this jargon?
Every year we have budget CapEx.
That's it.
Budget for the.
That's it. That's why I asked you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mani. CapEx stands for, Yashpal sir? Capital expenditure. Budget for capital expenditure. And I'm sure somebody as senior as Mr. Mani, we better be very, very clear on the budgeting practices, because CapEx typically involves a lot of cash. It's a huge long-term decision for the company. Normally when we join, it's a 1 year on the shop floor, rallies, 90s, before I did my MBA. Normally when you join an organization, thank you Mr. Rajesh, you are taking decisions, this is CapEx, big decisions. Normally we start by wetting our hands, and wetting our hands means you get into operations. One is CapEx decisions, second is working capital decisions. Normally the way it is, sir, is you start with working capital, then go into CapEx. Very happy to note that some young friends are immediately got into CapEx. That's because you are capable. But normally, logically, you have two types of decisions. You have two types of assets. One is fixed assets, second is working capital assets. Asset side of the balance sheet, I am putting it here. Arey Menon, this is all good. Having fixed assets, having land, building, plant and machinery, this Anuj is very good. But don't you think you need money to run your day-to-day business also? Oh, so that means you have got something known as working capital. What is working capital? Working capital is nothing but current assets minus current liabilities. So what is working? I'll simplify it. Just sometime I'll simplify it. Working capital. Capital needed for day-to-day working. Working capital. Capital needed for day-to-day operations. Now, that means what would be the assets required? Now, what is this current asset? Forget everything. Just forget everything. Let's use logic. Let's use logic. Forget everything. Let's not get into current asset. From there we'll have current ratio. So, बाद में पहला एकदम logic से जाए. What is the logic here? You will buy raw. Now look at this. I am drawing what is known as working capital cycle. You will buy raw materials. Vishal sir? Simple. Then what do you do with that raw material? Right, value addition. So that is what you will say, work in progress. Then with that work in progress, what would you do? You will convert it into finished goods. So you have raw material, which is converted into work in progress. That work in progress is converted to finished goods. that finished goods, what do you do? Come on, Mr. Menon. Finished goods, obviously you sell. Logic. Thank you for smiling. Now sales, life is not that simple ever that you sell and you get money. If money comes like that, so very simple in life here. Right? Well, thank you. That's where the problem starts in life. Sales, many of the time, is on credit. That means I will not use the word debtors, right, like my esteemed colleague did. I only tell my kids, I am telling you all logically, this is what is known as receivables. Because I tell you what's the problem, Mr. Mani. You are a fine person, but normally people get confused between debtors and creditors. Remember our MBA days, right? Don't remember debtors, no debit, no receivables. Mr. Kapil, I have given you money, I have given you goods. I'm sorry, I have given you goods. You are supposed to pay me after 3 months. It's a receivable. Now let's look at it logically. That means you are indebted to me. Thank you for smiling. Only a trainer would understand, sir. Right? This is the satisfaction we get in training. You are indebted to me, huh? That is why he will be called as debtors. That's it. But you don't like the word debtors, call it receivables. Simple. But why debtors? Debtors means you are indebted to me, you have to pay me. Now, you also have cash sales. Now you get the money, what do? You again put it back to raw materials. You get it back in raw materials. That means. There are two types of raw materials. Either you purchase in cash. What the world does to you, you will try to do to the world. What the world does to you, you will try to do to the world. In fact, we are paid for it. Okay, please understand, right? Wonderful, Mr. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Payables. That means he is giving us credit. That means you can also call it as creditors. Don't like it, leave it. Call it payables. Whatever you are comfortable. Finance is logic, right? Let's not scare people out. Having said this, now you will tell me this entire cycle, मैंने कुछ नहीं किया सर, एक स्लाइड के ऊपर I just went by logic, raw material, purchase, work in progress, value addition was the term that my colleague used, right? Work in progress is converted to finished good I will sell, that money that sometimes I may not receive, okay? Whatever I receive, I'm going to keep it back into business, I'm going to keep doing this time and time out, I'm going to keep doing this time and time out, I'm going to keep doing this time and time out. Now we have to talk about current assets and current liabilities. You are going to help me. But before that, I would request my dear friend, young friend, Akhil to tell me what is an asset, dear friend?
Application of funds.
What's a liability?
Source of funds.
That's it. The word current means for a short period of time. Bad mistake. Please note, we looked at working capital. What is working capital? We said raw material converted to work in progress, converted to finished goods, converted to sales. Sales, you will have the biggest problem of receivables. Yeah, if you are in a good business, you will have cash sales, money put back into business, raw materials. Yeah, and obviously you will try and take raw materials on credit. And here we were. We said asset is an application of money, liability is a source of money. The word current basically means for a short period of time. Thank you. The word current basically means for a short period of time. Sir, ये सब जो पैसा which you have invested, no, is stuck. But this money is rolling for a short period of time. So what is current asset, Mr. Ishwar? Current asset is nothing but application of money for a short period of time. Mishra sir, what is current liability, senior? It is a source of money for a short period of time. Same fundamental, sir. Except you have a new word that is current. But current word itself means short, no? Right? You go for a movie. Again, logic. You go for a movie. Remember the good old days, right? When we used to go for a movie. And it used to be advanced booking, current booking. Current means for the current show. Short period of time. Now let's pull this out. And you will help me, participants. You will keep helping me classify each of this as current asset and current liability. You will help me do this. And then we will, I'm just rescheduling the course, sir. I told sir also, it's a wonderful audience, right? Though, right, and I'm just tweaking the course a bit. So we'll talk a bit about working capital management now. Okay? We'll talk a bit about it. Okay? Raw material inventory. So let me now use a green pen. Raw material inventory. Money is lying in my godown in the form of inventory. Money is blocked, current asset. Anuj sir, the raw material is converted to work in progress. It is converted to work in progress. Thank you for nodding. Money is again blocked here. Current asset. At each stage, look at it as if it's money block. It is converted into finished goods inventory. There's an inventory lying out there. Again, it is what? Current asset. And he said, as simple as it is. You sold it. Mr. Sanjay, sharp gentleman, he says, I'll pay you after 6 months. My money is blocked there. And for the first time, I will use a red color pen. It is still a current asset, but it is a red color current asset because it is that asset which is not in your control. Thank you for that smile, sir. Balance all is in my control. It is this asset which is not in my control. Distinctly remember a dear friend, okay, talking about credit risk. This young man, Mr. Kapil. Finish, Mani sir. It's a current asset. Sorry, Mr. Sanjay, but since I took your name, after 3 months, Mr. Sanjay says, I'm not paying. Go to hell. The red sign is just to indicate that this is where working capital management should start. People, we take one-day workshops on working capital management, but the basic, you should get the logic. Why do you do that? You should start point as this asset is outside the system. Tomorrow, Mr. Mishra, senior that you are, you may take a decision with finished goods inventory, with raw material inventory, with work in progress. You will take decisions. But when that guy is going to pay you, this is discretion, and this is the paradox of life. In that same place, below you have a cash. Normally companies don't maintain it as cash, they should not maintain it as cash. We call this as cash equivalents. Because if you keep money just as cash, it's stupid, sir. So what they do is, even for short term, right? Even for short term, what they do is, they invest, not in stock markets. They keep their money in mutual funds, in liquid funds. We'll talk about it. We'll definitely talk about it. But please note, this is exactly where I use a blue pen and say, the most liquid of current assets. It was just in the paradox of life. Here you have, can I put this as BCA? BCA stands for most dangerous of current assets. Thank you for smiling. So here is a paradox of life. Here itself you have two categories. Thank you. Here is the good son. Here is the guy who is going to create trouble for you. Let's finish this off. Raw material paid in cash will not come into calculations because that's an expense that will come in profit and loss. We will see that post lunch. We will see that, in fact, before post lunch, thanks to your cooperation, we will see that before post lunch. Hello? Let's finish this. Let's finish this. What do you think is greater? Also, current liability means Raw material is lying in my godown, but I am going to pay Mr. Kapil after 3 months. Who is financing that raw materials? Mr. Kapil is financing that raw materials. Liability is a source of funds. Current liability is source of funds for a short period of time. Thank you very much. Payables is nothing but, that's it. So what is working capital? Working capital is nothing but, take all those assets, Mr. Sanjay, minus the liability. So that is also known as net current assets, which is also known as, see the word net, Mr. Mani, the word net is nothing but after subtracting. Word net current asset only indicates working capital. So what do you have in a balance sheet, Mr. Yashpal? On a balance sheet you will have fixed assets. Then this is the entire description, then they will put another subheading here, net current assets. Register, what does the word, I am sure you know the word, right? What does the word net indicate, sir? In totality, after removing the effect of liabilities. This both put together, this fixed assets, here we go, this is working capital, this both put together is known as tangible assets. It is known as tangible. What is tangible? Tangible is something which you can see, touch, feel. Tangible assets. So tangible assets, Mr. Sanjay, is of two parts. What are the two parts of tangible assets? Fixed assets and working capital. Now comes the paradox. For every such tangible assets, it's all over. Today, we have also something known as, so here we are. So this is net current assets. These are all fixed assets. One heading is this, fixed assets. Second heading is net current assets. Third heading is intangibles. Excuse me, what will come into intangibles is, again I am going to put it right here. What is going to come in intangibles is, intangible, what will come is goodwill. What will come into intangible is goodwill. What will come into intangible is brand. What will come into goodwill is patent. What will come into intangible is, you can keep adding, and I will finish with this, is IPR.
What about skill and knowledge?
We'll talk about this. Just give me a minute. IPR stands for Intellectual Property Rights. Why is this? Very good question, sir. Will be taken, sir. Mr. Mani, Kapil, dear friend. Just give me 2 minutes. Why they are known as intangibles? Because unlike a chair and table, damn it, unlike a chair and table, which you can touch, feel, see, goodwill. Sunil, you are saying Kirloskar has so much of goodwill in the market.
Goodwill quantity.
Coming from you, respected senior, I am sure it is true, but I have a problem. The problem is I am not able to see. That is where we call it as intangibles. Dear friends, please note. So you have 3 categories of assets: fixed assets, working capital, intangibles. Out of this, the toughest part to value is intangibles, which is where you have got a very important topic you are going to learn, which is known as financial shenanigans. What is financial shenanigans? What does it mean? Financial financial shenanigan basically means, what does it mean is what you would ask me. A financial shenanigan basically means manipulations. Shenanigan basically means manipulations. Financial shenanigan basically means what? Let's face it, it means manipulation. Manipulations. People will manipulate. Where is the maximum manipulation happening?
Subjective, wherever it is subjective.
Superb, Mr. Manila. Absolutely, sir. And where is it maximum subjective in these three categories? Can you please tell me how you have valued these intangibles? Maximum shenanigans is a term. We call this as window dressing. Basically, it means manipulations. Window dressing. What you have to realize, which is very, very important, dear friends, very, very important, is the company is trying to show 3 types of assets. Balance sheet is 3 types of assets. Fixed assets, working capital, third is intangibles. What should finally happen is the liability side should be equal to assets. And the moment that happens, you say your balance sheet has damage. But there is a link now, which I will establish through profit and loss statement. This balance sheet is linked to the profit and loss statement. How? I'll show it to you in 2 minutes when I start the profit and loss statement. One last time, balance sheet indicates solvency. Balance sheet of a company as on a particular date, it's a static statement. 3 principles. Principle number 1, imagine the company to be an artificial person. Second, liability is source of funds, asset is application of funds. And then we demystify, we work together on liabilities and assets. I have given you the various assets. Now I need to show you how you are going to link the profit and loss statement, which you will only answer. What I am going to do now is, I am going to rub this part of, so now here we go. So now let's look at profit and loss statement. So here we are, profit and loss statement. For XYZ, from to. So what it technically means is, from this period to this period. Superb. Period of time, Sunil sir, we call it as dynamic statement. Balance sheet was a snapshot picture. Balance sheet was stuck. This is going to capture, I'll use your words, for a period of time, from this date to this date. This is for you, Mr. Kapil. If you find a company, now I'll keep picking up the course, sir. If you find a company changing the period of use repeatedly, first time he uses 1st January to 31st December, then suddenly he changes to 1st April to 30th end March. It can be a sign of financial shenanigan. I am not saying it is. It can be. It is our job as an analyst to go and ask, Sunil sir, you changed the period of accounting. Can you justify why? Achha, this is the reason. Okay, good. But see, whether the reason is justifiable or no is a question which comes later. First thing is you should know what to ask. I call it as a red flag. What is a red flag? Red flag matlab kya Ashwaji? Answer. Red flag means a flag which is coming in, which is saying something could be wrong. First sign is change of accounting period. Now I am taking this course to a higher level. Change of accounting period. I'll give you at least 5 financial shenanigans since some of you are interested. So here we go. First, but then we need to cover the basics also. So we start with profit and loss. First thing in profit and loss statement is, please be comfortable, sir. Right? If you want to speak in Hindi, whatever. Finance is logic, is income. What is this composition of income? Income going up by 40% does not look very healthy because income is of 2 types. One is core income. Thank you, Mr. Rajesh. And other is, and the second one is, don't remember sale of real estate. That's wrong. Sale of real estate for Bombay dyeing is other income, but sale of real estate for DLF is core income. So how do you do it? Simplest rule. You should see whether it is recurring income or one-time income. So if it is recurring income, normally it is core income. But for this esteemed seniors, I would tell you, it is another way of looking at it. The way I do it, recurring is the easiest way of looking at it. Is you should go through the company's financial charter. What's a financial charter? A financial charter will basically define why the company is incorporated. What is its line of business? So a financial charter consists of two things. A financial charter consists of MOA, Memorandum of Association, and AOA, Articles of Association. A financial charter will consist of MOA and AOA. MOA stands for Memorandum of Association and AOA, Articles of Association. Core income is clearly defined in the MOA and AOA. Before I take Mr. Kapil's query, if you are finding it too difficult, if you don't know where the MOA, AOA is, okay, then use a thumb rule. Recurring income is core income, non-recurring income, one-time income is other income. Before I request the young colleague to ask me a question, excuse me, one more jargon. Your value driver should be core income. What is a value driver? A value driver is where the company derives its value from. In income, you should try and identify the value drivers. Great. So let's get to expenses. So income, core income, other income, less expenses. So let's start with expenses. Who's going to help me around with this? So let's say what would be the first expense? Production expenses, of which you are right, salaries would be a part. So what will go into production expenses?
Raw materials.
Raw materials. Let's include first point. I will not put it as salaries, I will put it as wages. Overheads. Utilities. Utilities, you will have steam, boiler. All this will come under electricity, will come under utilities. Why do you need this? Because you can write, they are obviously right. Straight on, because you can identify the cost drivers. Why do you need a breakup? So that you can control better, you can budget better. Excuse me. It is important for all of us to know that each industry has got its own cost drivers. For example, are we talking about melting, ferroalloys, steel? Utilities carry a lot of huge cost. It's a simple. If it is any metal melting is involved, electricity expenses have 60 to 70% of the production costs.
No.
Then already you do strategic cost management and you say remove 5 people. Then I think you have a small problem. Then you need to go back and say, excuse me Mr. Mani, you are into ferroalloys. No? Sir, I think we need to look at the production expenses, specifically production expenses, power costs. There can we work on it? It will lead to substantial saving. Did we say IT? Oh, then wages is extremely important. Salaries is extremely important. Did we say my profession? Investment banking, salaries is important. Did we say cement? Raw material is important. Did you say sugar? Raw material is important. So why have a breakup? A breakup is necessary because you can identify cost drivers. The best example for cost driver comes when I discuss a case. The case is Karthik Alloys. It is an SME, small and medium enterprise. Name of the person is Mr. B. Gopala. I'm sure he's not even an MBA, but he understands these cost drivers fantastic, and let's use it logically. Let me share an experience with you here. How did he use this? Very logical way he used it. So very simple what Mr. Gopala did. Mr. Gopala served for about 25-30 years with BBC Ferroalloys. It's a Hyderabad based company, BBC Ferroalloys, Hyderabad based company. Now Mr. Gopala decided once and for all, let me leave this employment and let me start my own, right? So he decided he will start and he'll get into Ferroalloys. Now please note that he is the best person, Mr. Mishra, to understand when to start marketing as well. So he had a flavor, Mr. Sunil of the market. He came to SBI Caps, alright, for funding. I was one of the officers who handled that case. Guess what? Mr. Gopala starts by saying he is going to locate his plant in Goa. And I'm like, Goa? Of all places, Goa? Does not make sense, Mr. Gopala. He comes back and says, please note, all his competitors are in Hyderabad. He says, Mr. Menon, you need to realize one thing. Why am I going to Goa? Best example of cost driver. Right? First is Goa those days perfect, Mr. Sanjay. Goa those days used to be declared as a backward area. Why was Goa declared a backward area? Goa was declared as a backward area for only one thing. The government then wanted to promote industrialization there. So what the government said is 5-year tax holiday. I said, Mr. Gopal, this is good. I didn't know that. He said, no, there's one more reason. I said, what is that one more reason? I get a lot of excise duty exemption. So one is central tax holiday, second is state subsidy. And there's a third reason. I said, what is the third reason? The killer of them all. The Goa state government, to encourage industrialization, had given a 50% power subsidy. Ferroalloys, 70% of the production cost comes from power. Hello, here is a guy who understood cost drivers so very well. He said, let me go there. I am getting a 50% off here. So if my competitor is paying 3 rupees per unit, I will pay only 1 rupee 50 paise per unit. And can I now give you the icing on the cake? The icing on the cake is, when all other regions of India were plagued with power shortages, Goa was a power surplus region. No textbooks will tell us this. But this is the power of logic. This is the power of logical application of finance. I'm a non-MBA. I learned my lesson that way.
80-20 ratio.
He got this perfect, sir, absolutely. What did he realize? He realized I need to go and base in a region where I can use my cost driver very well.